Hello everyone. We're going live on class number 5 and we're gonna be doing a recap about the previous classes. We've seen materials, material instances, master materials, basic lighting in Unreal Engine, the user interface, the outliner, and everything about the different options we have in Unreal Engine. And we're gonna use today something from the marketplace, a project from the marketplace. We can use this one, but I'm not sure if this one is free though. This one is the Brutalist Architecture Office. We can use this one, or we can use the Modern House. The Modern House, I'm pretty sure that one is free and is from the Twinmotion content in Unreal Engine that you can get. So if you want to find this in Unreal Engine, you just have to go to the Marketplace tab that we have over here, then go to Search Products, and you can write the Brutalist Architecture Office. You click on that one and it's going to show you exactly this page over here. In order to add this to your project, you just have to click on the option to add to project, select the project you want to add this to. In our case is Intro Unreal, then click add to project. It's going to download the project. This one is about 2 gigs, and then you can use it, and that's it. I already added this to the project because I had to download it, and we're not gonna wait for that. And we also have the Modern House from Twinmotion. So we have, let's just search for Modern House. So this one is part of, is it? I think it is. Yeah, this one should be free. It says owned and it has a price tag. Okay, let's just search for Brutalist, just to make sure the other one is free. Okay, this one is free, and I'm not sure if this one is free just for the month. I think it is. So let's use this one. If you're following along on this tutorial, you're gonna be able to use this one during this month of July. And is there any other free? I think this one is part of the free forever pack, so it should be available for free. I don't know. Let me know if you're not able to use this one, and yeah, we can use another one probably in the future. So after you add it to your project, then we just go to our library, go up to the very top, and you're gonna be able to find your most recent projects over here. And we have the Intro Unreal project we've been working on. And I'm sorry, I'm still a little bit sick. Still getting back from a really bad flu that I had. So let's just open up the project, and then we're gonna compile the shaders for the project. Oh, and I made some changes to, well, it's not a super, okay, we haven't seen blueprints, so, okay, never mind. You shouldn't be able to tell much of a difference, but I made some changes in the way my nodes are displayed whenever we are using any sort of blueprints in Unreal Engine. I'm using a plugin, it's a paid plugin, and it's called electronic nodes. So it makes nodes in Unreal Engine a little bit easier to understand. It makes the lines better, and it makes stuff a little bit better visually. Instead of having like all those crazy wires, it's gonna be a little bit more tight. So that's the only difference. So we have our project, And on this project, you can see we have at the very top the Buralist level kit. So if we open that one, we have more folders inside. We have some blueprints, we have maps, we have materials, models, and textures. We're gonna open up the maps and we are going, okay, we can use the example map. We have the example map lighting on Unreal Engine 5. So this one is an old version. This one is using Lumen. And this one over here is just going to show you all of the available assets that you have inside of this project. So let's just open this one. Example map Unreal Engine 5 lighting. Oh, no. I got it wrong. It's not an update. This one is just to show the kinds of lights you're using to get the results you're getting in the full map. So yeah, that's super weird. It's the first time I've seen just a light map instead of a full map. Anyways, let's just open up the example map. It should have all of the static meshes, the materials, the textures, and we're just gonna have to wait a little bit for it. On the other class, I used the modern house example. The modern house example. Oh, there we go. It was doing something crazy. So let's just give it a little bit. Okay, so it's preparing the shaders. As a recap, the shaders is a process you do to render the graphic effects in the GPU, and you process all of the graphic effects in order to be able to see these results on any sort of map. So you have to load all of the all of the lights and all of that. Those are processes that are run on the graphic card before you actually load everything. So there we go. We have this over here and we have some instructions left, right. I have no idea what these are for. Front. Yeah, this is just strange. But we can find over here in this example that this is our player start. Remember that the player start capsule is going to show you where the pawn is going to be located whenever you start the play mode in a scene. So once we hit play, we're gonna be watching at this side over here because we have the arrow. The arrow indicates you're looking at that way, not in the way we have the gizmos over here. So we're gonna be looking at that way, and whenever we hit play, we shouldn't be able to see a lot of the things we have over there. We have some options: interact with E, crouch with C, and then change player view with B, as in Victor. So this is first person. And yeah, it doesn't look like I can move. Can I move? Yeah, it's not moving. So let's just do a little fix over here. We're gonna go into world settings. So we have world settings over here, and we are going to change the game mode to BP underscore third person game mode. I explained this. Have I explained this in this course? I think I haven't. But what we're gonna do right now is that we are going to basically use the third person template that Unreal Engine has by default to play in this in this level, instead of using what we have built within this map. So we're just gonna override that one. We're gonna hit play, and now we're gonna have the Unreal Engine 5 mannequin and the Unreal Engine 5 camera, so that we can move inside of this this level that we have over here. So then again, recap. This is what you can achieve in Unreal Engine, managing some good lights. We have this is the directional light. The directional light, remember, that is some sort of like the sun you have in any sort of worlds in Unreal Engine. Is one of the most basic lights you're going to use, and you're gonna use the directional light in most of your projects if you're gonna have light, like real light from like ambient light. You're gonna be able to use the directional light. Then again, I think we are using a skylight. Let me just double check over here. Do we have a skylight? Yes, we have a skylight, and then we should have an sky atmosphere. There we go. So we talked about those different lights. The skylight is going to reflect the lights that we have on the lights from the sun that come from, I don't know, the stratosphere, and how it actually works. So it allows you to bring some lights, lumen lights, onto all of your scenes in a really good way. This material we have over here is transparent material. As you can see, this one is it's a window, so it has a texture and it has a material. Let's go to details, and we should be able to see the window meshes. As you can see over here in the details section, whenever you select anything over here from the scene, you're gonna be able to find it on the right side in the outliner, and then below in the details is going to show you the details for that specific object. So in this case, we haven't seen that, but we have a blueprint. A blueprint, you can make a blueprint out of any static meshes, like super easy. You just have to click over here on this option. Well, right now it says edit blueprint, but whenever you don't have a blueprint over an object, it's going to give you an option to convert to blueprint. So basically, a blueprint is like a template you're going to use for the static meshes that you have inside of this blueprint. So this blueprint, what it does is that it has inside the window meshes. We have the top level window meshes, we have the corner meshes. It has a ton of different things inside that make up all of that wall over there. So if we go in the details for the window, window deco meshes, it shouldn't be that one, it should be window meshes. So in the windows meshes, we're gonna be able to find the static mesh, which is the 3D object that makes this window over here. And we have the materials that we are using to provide the textures for this window over here. So we have there's a dynamic material. It's a basic concrete material that we're using for the outside of the window. And we have the outer glass material. This is the material instance. And this one is the plastic trim that we're using for this section over here of the material. So it has a mix of plastic and a mix of a metallic texture. We can double click any of these options over here to open up the material instance. So remember, we've seen material instances. Let's just dock this one over here, or maybe we just leave it outside. So a material instance is what allows you to use settings from a material and do changes real time. So you can see the color for this one is 111 in all of them, because this is a different kind of material. It's a reflective and transparent material. So it's gonna mimic the effect that you get from a window. So that's why it needs to be white. but you can, if you change the color, let's see if we have some tint over here instead of changing the color. No, we don't have tint. So if we change a little bit of the color over here, we should be able to give it a little tint. So let's just give it a nice blue. We should. And we can see the change over here. It doesn't look super heavy on this one. Maybe we have to go all the way over here. And it looks a little bit blue, but it doesn't look like super blue. Maybe it's just affecting the outside. Yeah, it's affecting the outside. So this material is a one-sided material, and it's affecting one way different than the other way. So this is a one-sided material. You have two-sided materials that they look the same on both sides. So as you can see, we can see the changes more clearly from the other side of the window. So there's a little tint, a little green tint, a little red tint. So if it's like a corporate environment, probably you're gonna have a nice blue on some of the windows to have some sort of tinted window. So we can do that, or we can just cancel it and leave it as it is, and it's a reflective, weird looking material for now. But yeah, this is the material that makes up the window. Remember that a material instance is a copy from the master material that has the parameters that we can change over here. As you can see, we have some blur, we have some dirt. We can remove some of the dirt that we have on the window, and maybe this is affecting outside. Let me just double check on that. Let's just remove it. Yeah, we can see like a huge difference between the used dirt. Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So we have to enable two options so that we can see some of the dirt over here. And as you can see now, there is a big difference on the windows. And we have a lot of different options. This is what I was telling you about how crazy you can go with materials in Unreal Engine. Hello, Les Klein. Glad to have you here. You can define basically any sort of effect using a material parameter and then make it all available in the material instance. So as you can see, we have the dirt color. We can change the color. Yeah, and we have the dirt on the place that is clean, and we have a dirt that covers the other area. So we have this white over here, and we have this reddish over here. Let's change the other one, and this is the one that looks a little bit like dirt. And yeah, it changes how the window looks. This is recap of material instances, and we have a multiplier so that we can change how hard this effect is going to look like. So it's on 3.8 right now. If we change it to 1, it should, but it doesn't look like it's making much of a difference actually. Oh yeah, it does. We can see the difference on this section over here. So if we put it like super hard, we're gonna be able to see like those scratches and that kind of dirt over here. We can go to the default value. I'm not sure if this is gonna be 3. No, it's gonna be 0.85, and it was on 3.85 or something. Yeah, 3.85. Yeah, it doesn't look like much. 7 looks good. Yeah, looks like the window is scratched. We have the dirt color power, and we have a lot of different settings that we can use. We can use drips. Let's enable that one. Let's wait for the shaders. Let's remove the dirt so that we can see what's the difference between this one. So drips, what is a drip? I'm not sure what is a drip. We have an albedo intensity. This is the base color. Let's change the intensity. Okay, so this is a drip. I'm not sure what a drip is, but we can see what it does when we change the values over here, and we can see it more over here, and it's the kind of like dirt you get from a window whenever there's some water on it and it just goes dry, and it happens to cars and you have to buy like a different thing to clean it. Hello, how are you? Hola, Donita, how are you? Happy to have you here. So it doesn't look like much on the window. Is it inside? No. Yeah, but it should give us that effect we have over here. It's not looking like super good on this one. Is it the angle? Is it the light? I don't know. But it's not looking like super good. But this is how you can change a lot of the settings using material instances and parameters when you're using materials in Unreal Engine. Let's go and take a look at the master material for this one. We just have to go at the very bottom, remember, and we have the parent material from which we are getting all of these parameters, crazy parameters that we have over here. So this is gonna be crazy. We've only seen basic stuff, so this is gonna look like super crazy to you. These are nodes, and this is the material graph we have over here, and this is all that is happening in order to create these different options. So as you can see, we have a comment over here. This is to let people know what you're doing with all of the nodes and the crazy things you're doing here. So this is what we need to do in order to create an effect that is going to create some sort of reflection, extra reflection for the windows. And this is the glass of the windows. So yeah, I'm not gonna go over that one, but as you can see, we have a constant value over here. We've seen constant values. We have some UVs that we have connected to this one. This one is getting the size of the map, and we're connecting the size of the map to the UVs. The UVs are how the materials are laid out in X and Y in a plane. This is not 3D, this is just a plane for a texture. I explained that during materials. So we have a constant value over here, and we are connecting, let me just double check on this one. We are desaturating the value from the RGB, and then we are doing some math. We're multiplying, and yeah, we're multiplying this one, and this is the power of any number. And then we are adding some reflection using a lerp. This is a linear interpolation. This is what lerp stands for. Remember that we use that one to mix two colors. And you can get a lerp if you search for lerp. It's a linear interpolate. And we can also just click L and hold L and make a left click, and you're gonna be able to pull a lerp node just like that. So these are hotkeys. This is just a recap, and we are connecting that to the albedo color, which is the basic color for the window. And we are adding that, and we are using a switch. Now remember that I show you how to use a switch on Unreal Engine so you can turn on or off some of the options. So if the option is turned on, we are going to use the extra reflection and pass all of these settings into the base color. And if it's false, it's just going to pass the basic color. It's just basic logic over here. We haven't gone like super deep into logic connectors in Unreal Engine. We're gonna look at that when we start looking at blueprints. And we have some of the tiling over here, roughness, opacity, and a lot of craziness over here. And this is how crazy you can go with Unreal Engine once you understand some of the nodes that you can use and functions in Unreal Engine to create effects. So as I was telling you when I started the class in Unreal Engine, it's hey Kobe Streams, glad to have you here. Made it. So as I was telling you, you can specialize in so many different things in Unreal Engine because there are so many crazy things you can do in Unreal Engine. So if you just want to use basic settings and change some of the colors and stuff like that, you don't need to go like super deep into materials. As long as you know that you can use a material instance, which is the one we have over here, and as long as you know that the material instance is going to have parameters that are easy to read and use, you can start playing with those and you can start getting some different results on the materials that you have over here. So as you can see, we have the use extra reflection. We can enable that one, and then based on that one is going to create some shaders, and now it's gonna be like super bright. So if you didn't want to create the effects for yourself, you don't need to go into super deep functions for Unreal Engine and materials, and you can just learn how to use material instances, and you learn basically how to operate with the values that you have over here. And if you're curious enough, you can just change some of the values over here and get some good results probably with whatever you're doing. So this is the material instance. We're not going to do any changes over here. Updating texture data. And this was a super quick recap of material instances and materials in Unreal Engine. So let's just go over the lights right now. This one, okay, this is looking like super crazy. I'm just gonna disable. Remember that you can disable a lot of the game settings using G. So if I press G, we're gonna get rid of all of these settings over here. And now it's gonna look a lot more clean. So directional light, remember that the directional light is the light from the sun, and you can change the directional light if you press Control, you hold Control, and then you press L as in Lima, and then you're gonna be able to get this image over here, which is going to tell you that the sun is coming in this way. And if I move it up a bit, the direction of the sun and how the light is coming into the office is gonna be like super different. And you can change this depending on what do you want to achieve with your scene. So depending on what you want, you're gonna be able to change it. And if we move it back a bit, okay, over there is just exaggerating some lights. Yeah, let's just change it over here. And as you can see, it's using Unreal Engine's Lumen real-time lighting. So it's super fast, it's super nice. And since we are using the dynamic lights from the skylight, it's basically using, based on the position of the sun, it's auto-adjusting the colors of the light of the sun, because remember that when the sun is coming out, it's a little bit orange, or when the sun is coming in, it's a little bit orange, and then when the sun is like in the middle of the day, it's like a little bit blue. But depending on what you want to do with your scene, you're gonna change the settings over here. So let's say the sun has to hit over here. We're gonna change some of the settings. So now we have some sun on those seats over here. And if we were to place a person over here, it's gonna look like a little bit better. Something else, let me just double check. Let's go to our post-process volume. Remember that the post-process volume is used on the scene so that you can change the graphic effects that you're going to have to use on all of your scene if you have an infinite extent. So using the settings over here, let's just go and double check first. We have infinite extent, so we know that this post-process volume is affecting all of our scene. And over here we have some cool settings that we can change. As you can see, this one is using a slope and a toe in the film settings. So it's going to change how some of the lights are going to look like on our scene. and we can go to exposure. And as you can see, the mirroring mode is set to auto exposure. We can change that. Remember that the difference is gonna be huge when you go from auto exposure to manual, and then we change the auto exposure, the exposure compensation, we change it manually, and now it makes sense. And it's going to keep the same level of lighting for all of the areas. And it's not going to compensate if you're going on a scene that is like super dark. It's not going to make everything else brighter. Because remember that the camera that you're using in Unreal Engine, it mimics what happens with your eyes. If you go into a dark place, your eyes are gonna try to adjust, and your pupils are gonna get bigger, and you're gonna absorb more light. So after a while, you're gonna be able to see a little bit better because you're absorbing more light. The lights in Unreal, the cameras and how lights work in Unreal Engine by default, they are using the auto exposure. So if you wanna have a light that is like, is not auto exposed, you're gonna be using the manual compensation for the exposure. So this one is going to keep your scene at the same lighting level. Even if you're going to a super dark scene, it's not gonna try to compensate. Let's change so that we can see what's the big difference between manual and auto exposure. So let's go from manual to auto exposure, and you're gonna be able to see that the scene is going to get a little bit bright. And this is what happens with your eyes. So Unreal Engine is trying to compensate for the lack of light. And let's just change the exposure compensation over here. Yeah, it's trying to auto compensate over here. Let's just change it a little bit. There we go. So auto exposure, and as you can see, this is how your eyes work usually. But what happens with that, if you have a game or if you have a scene, is that if you go out of the dark into the light, it's gonna look like super bright. So it's gonna have to adjust the lights a little bit again. So it can go, I don't know, to a level when the lights are looking better for your eye. So this is not ideal. You're gonna want to avoid that in most of the scenes you're going to be creating. So let's just make it 10.25 and make it manual, and we have the same lighting level for all our scene. We also have something that I was talking about in the last class. This over here is available from Unreal Engine 5 and up, and this is an emissive material. As you can see, this kind of material emits light. So we can get this kind of effects. If we go to the material instance for the light, we're gonna be able to find some of the settings for the light. We have the light color, we have the multiplier, and if we go into the parent material, we're gonna be able to find the emissive section over here. And this is what you need to do in order to create an emissive color. You're gonna be able to multiply some vertex colors, apply some light to it, multiply the lights again, and then plug this in, all these functions, into the emissive color. This is what's creating the emissive light that we have over here. So it doesn't look like super nice over here, but we know that this is trying to represent what we have over here. And since this is applying to the material, there is a section that is not bright, is the section in the middle. And this is just how a material, remember that a texture is a 2D material, it's not a 3D material. So it's trying to apply this on a 3D material, so it's gonna look different on a sphere. And this is how it looks on a cylinder. Remember that you can change how you want to display this preview over here. So we just close this one. This is how you create emissive materials in Unreal Engine. And this is another type of emissive material, but I'm sure that we have a light over here. I'm just gonna turn on G. Yeah, and if we double check on this, we not only have an emissive material, but we have a light. And let's just remove the... Okay, so this is a blueprint. This doesn't look like any of the lights we've seen in Unreal Engine so far. It's a little bit more complicated, and this is created using a blueprint. So as you can see, inside the blueprint components, we have a scattered box, we have some pillars, we have some text, because people like to let other people know that you have a light over here, and it says something over here. What do we have? It says start. It says start, and since we have, I think we have two lights like close together, we have another start over here, and that's why we can't read the other one. Yeah, I think we have two lights over here. So this is what they are doing in order to create this effect. It's a blueprint, and it's a mix of lights. And these lights over here, like these lines over here, the wireframe, are the lights that we are using to illuminate this area. Let's just scatter box collision, pillar meshes, static meshes. Do we have any lighting that is normal on the scene? I think we do. No, this is a blueprint, ambient sky, the sun. This is super weird, but it's nice to see it. Usually you want to create folders and sort all of your things so you can find them easily. As you can see, we have a lighting folder, and this is I haven't seen this in most projects. They just leave it as directional light, but they actually took the time to rename the directional light and call it sun. So if you're starting in Unreal Engine, you're gonna be able to understand like super fast that this is the sun. So that's a nice thing. This is the first time I see it. Let's just press G again to get rid of this. No, actually, let's press G again. We have, do we have a basic light over here? Yeah, this one is a spotlight mixed with this blueprint over here. I'm gonna explain blueprints. Dude, if this gets published on a game, this will be a banger for sure. Yeah. There is a lot of good content in Unreal Engine and free content that you can use to start your projects. And as I showed in the beginning, I just added the third-person template to this project that I have over here. So if I hit play on this scene, we're gonna be able to have our mannequin over here and basically play on this level. So if you start adding some functionality to what we have over here, you're gonna be able to easily make this into, I don't know, a shooter or something else. This one, let's just take a look at this static mesh that we have over here. As you can see, I'm unable to go up like they were normal stairs. It doesn't work. Can you imagine why? I think we have we talked about, no, we haven't talked about this. So I'm gonna take the time to explain this like super fast now that we've come to this. Let's select the stairs over here. All of the 3D, like the 3D actors that you have on a scene, they have a static mesh, which is basically the 3D model that makes up what you have over here. Let's change the post-process volume a little bit, and let's adjust the compensation and put it on 11, so we have a little bit more light. So we have the stairs over here, and as you can see, I can't go up the stairs. It kind of like stops on an invisible wall. Why is that happening? Unreal Engine has different ways to process what's going on the scene. So let's go from lit mode to wireframe. This is how Unreal Engine looks at the scene that we have over here. And this is basically a mix of lines and collisions that make up the world that we have over here. But the collisions are what you can actually touch and go up on, and I don't know, everything that you can basically touch on the scene, that's a collision. And the collision, sometimes it's not well made for some of the 3D objects. So if we take a look and go from wireframe mode into player collision view, and we take a look on that scene over here on this weird 3D static mesh, we can see that the stairs are not really stairs. They are creating this sort of, I don't know, like squares, and they are not creating the mesh for all of the stairs. Can we fix that? Yeah, we can fix that. You're gonna be changing the collision mode from a lot of the static meshes that you have in the scene. So really quick, if you want to change this, we can go to the details mode of this. Oh, this is a blueprint. Okay, so we have a blueprint. The blueprint has the stairs inside. So we have the stairs middle mesh. We have the steps over here. As you can see, the static mesh is this one over here. So if you click on the, is this an hourglass? Yeah, I think it is. So if you click on the hourglass over here, it's going to take you to the content browser. Hey, how are you, Damien? Happy to have you here. If you click on the hourglass over here, you're gonna be able to find where the static mesh is on all of your content browser folders. So it's on the stairs section, and we have this one over here. If we double click on the static mesh, it's going to open up. This is the static mesh editor in Unreal Engine. So as you can see, we have something really cool over here that is called the collision of the static mesh. So let's take a look at this. And let's take a look at the wireframe. And let's take a look at the player collision view. This is how Unreal Engine is creating the map that we are using to try to walk on this. So we have to change it because this doesn't work, and that's why whenever we try to go up, it's not working. The player is just crashing on top of this. So we have to change the collision mode over here, and we can first remove the collision. I'm gonna remove the collision, and I'm going to show you exactly what the collision does before we actually add some collision to it. So let's just go to the stairs. Remember, the stairs, they don't have a collision anymore. And this is what happens. We remove the collision from the stairs, so basically you can't touch the stairs anymore. So we have to fix that, and we have to fix the type of collision that we're using for the stairs. So we have stairs middle meshes. Let's go over here. And actually you have some different type of stairs that we're using as well. But let's just change it. Double click on that one. We have it over here. And we have some options to create the collisions. So there is an option to, as you can see, we have a sphere, we can add a capsule, we can add a box, depending on what you're doing. You're gonna want to use some different, glad to be here, bro. He's designing the Catalyst Mansion H2, bro. This is hype. Yeah, that would be nice, actually. We can do that. So we have different options to create some simplified collisions over here. We can do it on the X-axis, the Y-axis, the Z-axis, or we can add 26 faces for a simplified collision. We can try that. And this is going to use 26 different lines to create a simplified collision. It still doesn't work. What we want to do over here is that we gotta go to the collision complexity. As you can see, is usually on project default, and we can use something that is called use complex collision as simple. There we go. So now what we are doing is that we are tying the collision of the object to the static mesh. It's no longer going to use that weird thing we have over there. We are going to use now a collision box that is different. So let's just compile this, make some changes, and let's hit play, and we should be able to go up. There we go. We can go up and down because now Unreal Engine is reading that we have little steps, and we haven't gone over this because I'm talking about a project, and this is part of today's class. But the locomotion machine, the state machine that makes the moves for the Unreal Engine character, is set to go up at certain heights, and if it's higher than that, it's just gonna crash on it. So as you can see right now, the pose of the mannequin is actually reflecting some of the height changes that we have on the static mesh over here for the stairs. So yeah, you're gonna have to do that with a lot of different static meshes in Unreal Engine so that you can get to do what you wanna do on this scene. So now all of the stairs that we have on this scene over here are usable, and we can basically walk all over this beautiful creation that we have over here. So again, recap, we have materials, material instances, we have master materials, we have parameters, we have collisions, we have lighting in Unreal Engine, we have static meshes. I show you how to import content using a specific actor, a 3D object, and bring it to Unreal Engine. And you're gonna want to do this with a lot of different scenes so that you can give it this kind of realism. As you can see over here, we have a lot of different objects, and they just make this office look a little bit better. If it was just a table, it will look a little bit empty, but we have a cup of coffee, we have a can of something, and we have some chips over here. So you can drag a lot of different assets from different marketplaces, not only Unreal Engine, and bring it to Unreal Engine. Oh, okay, there we go. And we have a little bit more chaos over here, and we have some cool lights going on this scene over here. Let's go and take a look on the lights that we have over here. As you can see, they're using basic lights for this one. So it's well, it's a blueprint, but it's using a basic light inside the blueprint. So we're gonna go and select, where do we have this over here? Select it. It's selecting something else. Oh, okay, so they put everything inside a different blueprint, and inside the main blueprint, we have all of the different blueprints for the lamps. So if we go to the BP and we go to the viewport, we're gonna be able to see that they are creating this for the lamps that we have on the ceiling. And we have the office desk blueprint over here. Let's just edit the blueprint, go to the viewport, and we can see that so they don't have to replicate all of the different seats and move the chair alone, or move this desk over here and then move all of the different things that they have on top of this. They created a blueprint and they reused the blueprint to add all together. And inside of this blueprint, we have our spotlight. So this is a basic light from Unreal Engine, and we went over this in the last class. And they are just modifying how they are using it so they can, well, basically illuminate this area that we have over here. Let's just press G to, oh, we can get rid of this one. Let's go to unlit. How do we get rid of, let me just go over here. There we go. So we can see that they are illuminating using a basic light over here, and it's just a spotlight that is just illuminating this little section over here. So this is lighting also in Unreal Engine. And this is how you can use the basic lights in Unreal Engine to create some different nice effects. They are also adding some fog, I'm pretty sure, so that we can actually see the halo of the light coming through space. You're not gonna be able to do that if you don't have a little bit of fog on your scene. And they are creating the fog in the blueprint, if I'm not mistaken. So we have a lamp. Let's just double check on that one. Material instance, spotlight, and what do we have over here? We have some light color, attenuation radius, inner cone angle, outer cone angle. We have all of these settings that we went over in the last class. And where do we have some fog? Max distance. Well, they are not using fog in this one. Where do they use the fog? Oh, I think it's gonna be a construction script. Yeah. So we're not gonna go over blueprints yet, but they are doing the effect. You can basically do anything you can do normally in the game using blueprints. Some people like to complicate themselves, so they are creating some of the effects over here for the desk and all the stuff using blueprints. So this is the visual scripting that you have available in Unreal Engine, and it's a lot easier than learning a programming language. So yeah, you don't need to learn any sort of programming languages to learn Unreal Engine. So that's what we have over here. This is our beautiful map. What do we have over here? So we can go over the recap. Lights, material. Okay, let's go over materials. Let's go over materials and let's do a recap for materials. So let's go to the couch that we have over here. This is gonna be our best example. As you can see, we have this beautiful texture. It's some sort of leather. Let's select this one. It's a spline of chairs. Okay. So a spline is something you do in Unreal Engine to repeat a set of static meshes over a length and one axis in Unreal Engine. So they are repeating the chairs using a spline. Where do we have the basic? Okay, there we go. So we have blueprint. Let's go inside the blueprint, and inside the blueprint, we're gonna be able to have some settings, static meshes. So edit in blueprint. Let's just go to viewport. What are they doing here? This shouldn't be that one. So they are drawing this spline over here. Where are we getting the static mesh? How about interactions? How does the dummy interact with objects like sitting or picking up? That's a different setup. That's different to setup, right? Yeah. Any sort of custom functions that are not in the basic Unreal Engine usage, you're gonna have to program them basically. So if you want your character to be able to sit on a chair whenever you're in front of the chair, you're gonna be able to, yeah, well, you can do it in two different ways. And let's just go super quick over this. Let's open our level blueprint. All of the levels that you can have in Unreal Engine, they have a blueprint, and they basically have the code that you're going to use for the level. So as you can see, we have something interesting over here. We have an event, and this event says that whenever you press R on your keyboard, we are going to reload the level. So it's just gonna go and find the name of the level. and return the name of the level, and it's going to reload that one when you press R. So we didn't know that one, and we have another one that is called quit game. Whenever you press escape on your keyboard, you're gonna be able to do something specific like quit the current preview. So what you have to do if you wanted to create some sort of functionality where E is the letter that you have to press, you can create an event, let's say for the letter E. So when you press E, well, it should show it over here, but let's just press keyboard E. So we have keyword events, and then we go over here and find E. So we have keyword E. Whenever you press keyword E, you should get, let's go back to our world over here, and let me try to find a reference to the static mesh that we have over here. But this is a spline, so this is gonna be a kind of a mess. So we have a spline. I still have to find where are they getting the actor. Let's just go over here, static meshes. Where do we have that? Okay, let's just do something different. That's gonna be easier. Because that one is a spline, and a spline works different than just a basic object. Let's just pretend that this is gonna be our object, the one we want to use and the one we want to create an action for. Let's just move it over here. There we go. So we have a chair. Let's just put it on the ground. We have a table, sorry, we have a table. So if you select anything on the viewport, so we have it selected, we go back to the level blueprint, we make a right click on the event graph. As you can see, now we have something at the very top that is called create a reference to sm_rect_desk, and that's the name of the object that we have on the scene. So we now are creating a reference to the desk, and then you get the desk, and then you try to create some sort of function that is going to use the desk as a reference. And we're not gonna be able to create that because we need to do something else. We need to tell it that whenever we press E and we are close to the desk, then we have to change the state machine, which is what controls a blueprint for the third person character. And this is advanced stuff. We haven't seen that on this course, but I'm gonna try to explain this like super quick without going into too much details. And we have our, let's just go to the third person. We have blueprints, and we have the third person character over here. So the third person character has a, I forgot the name of that one. It's an animation blueprint. So the animation blueprint is what is going to dictate what sort of behaviors and moves you can do with your mannequin from Unreal Engine. So you can see we have some options over here already that they are doing already. Left and right, up and down. This is the camera input, and we have the movement input. So we have some options over here. This is left and right, and this is how you dictate the moves for the pawn. And we have the jump input, and this one can be configured in the character movement component. So if we go to character movement component over here, we have to enable a jump, and I think we have it enabled. We should be able to jump using spacebar. No, we don't have enabled. We have to enable that one. So it should be trigger, jump, and completed stop jumping. So jump. And we have movement capabilities, can jump, and we should have some sort of key that we can attach to it. Basically, well, but I'm just going out of the way. what we have to do is that we have to create, first of all, the pose for the character that is going to use whenever you're going to interact with that chair. So we have to create a, basically program an option where you're getting the reference and location for the desk over here, this one over here. And when you press E, you're going to execute a change in how the character is going to use a pose. So it's gonna go, and that's a huge deal, but it's gonna go from being like in a standing way to a sitting way, and it's just gonna stay there, static. That should be what you need to do. So think about most of the things you want to do in a game. You have to program all of the different poses that you're gonna want to use in the game. Let me open up an example. And I haven't shown basically this to a lot of people. Basically, just the team has seen this. Let's just open the 5.1 version. This one still has some bugs. And I'm gonna open up a game I've been working on. And I'm gonna show you how some of the movements look like whenever you're gonna program the movements and do all of that for the character. It's a huge pain in the ass, but it's nice. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, you can do that, but you have to do a setup. You have to do it manually because all of these actions and all of these poses, they are non-existent in Unreal Engine because that's not what the basic mannequin is programmed to do. But a lot of different poses you can get for free using Adobe's Mixamo. I'm gonna drop a link over here, Mixamo. Mixamo. So this is from Adobe, and basically you can get a lot of different poses for different characters, and then you can retarget the animations that you can get from Mixamo. Let me just log in. Ah, damn it. Give me just a moment. I need to get a text. Where do I have that? Oh, and enter the last four and then get the code. Okay, give me the code. Here we go. So, here we go. So what you have to do in Mixamo is that you have to download the animations you want to use. As you can see, we have a ton of animations over here, and you have to download the animations you want to use. So let's go and search for sitting, and we need a full one, like this. What do we have? Sitting, drinking. Okay, this one would work, but it's going to drink something. But this one is the example we want for our character. We are walking, and then we are sitting in something. So we need to download this animation. We have some different options to download it. We're gonna use the basic FBX binary. We can use with skin or without skin. And then we are going to retarget the animation that we have over here to the Unreal Engine mannequin. And then after you do that, you are gonna tie this to any sort of function like the E. Pressing letter E in front of a desk is going to trigger this animation. This is how you go about creating most of the things in Unreal Engine. Well, basically in most games, I think you have to program all of the actions that you want to think about. So let's say if we go to the example of Grand Saga Unlimited, whenever you press X and you sit so you can recover, that is an animation that you can trigger, and that is a setup that they did almost in the same way. You would think about it in this way. Whenever you press some leather, you go and get actor, and then you get, well, it depends on how you want to wire it, but you can get the actor and then you get the reference to the object, and then you program a state animation change so that the character can go and do that sort of animation. So that's what happens in Grand Saga Unlimited. When you press X, it's gonna trigger the change in animation, and that's also tied to something else, to the recovery of when you eat some food, and you're gonna get the recovery faster when you're sitting than when you're standing using a character. So all of that, you have to program it. It's basically a lot of work. Oh man, it's compiling shaders. Why is it compiling shaders? Okay, I made an update. That's why. We have to wait for this project to render all of the visual aspect of it. But yeah, most of the things you have to program them. Most of the changes you have to program them. If you pick up a gun and how you hold the gun and how you get a different sort of mesh for the gun, because not all guns are gonna be exactly the same. You're gonna want to create also different animations for all of the different guns that you can get. So that's a lot of work, because if you have like the game we have 50 something different like guns and stuff that you can use. We're gonna call them guns because they are like a lot of different spears and bows and whatnot. You want to think about how the character looks like when it's running using a bow versus when it's running using a gun. Is gonna look different, and you like that's a different animation for all of the different settings. So if you're thinking about why they were not changing some of the static meshes, because whenever you change, I think they didn't change them. Do they change them? I don't remember if they change it in Grand Saga Unlimited. Whenever you change your clothes, if it reflects on the character, I think just the specials, the customizable ones. But if you want to do that, you have to create all of the different permutations for clothes. Well, depending on how you wanna manage it, because you can just change a part of the character. Yeah, but still, yeah, it's a big mess. Yeah, that's the reason they have a group of people working on games. It takes a lot of work, and sometimes you don't envision that when you start to do a game and when you start on the game industry. But basically, doing a game is doing the work of 27 different people in one. So you're gonna have to learn how to model some of the objects, how to create materials, how to customize materials. Oh, we haven't gone over the materials because I was talking about this. Let's use the desk as an example. This is the chair, desk. I don't know. You're gonna have to learn about audio, and you're gonna have to learn about state machines and blueprints and whatnot in Unreal Engine, and cinematics, and all of that. They are a huge specialization in Unreal Engine. This is a small world, so we don't have landscapes over here. But when you have a super big world, and you want to think about the grass and the trees and how they grow and the rocks and the different types of dirt that you can have in different regions, that's a lot of work as well, and that's a lot to learn. I spent like 4 months learning about ecosystems and landscapes um, and all of that, because I was working on a super huge map, which is what I wanted for the game initially. It was a 100 kilometers wide map. So thinking about all of that and how to procedurally generate some of the assets for the game, and how to handle the slopes and what kind of things grow on what kind of dirt, it's a lot to learn. So yeah, it's been a nice process for me, because I didn't think it would be that complicated to create a super, I don't know, like super complex game. But a super nice and super visual game as well. Yeah, I didn't think it would be that complicated. I thought it would be easier, but here I am almost 2 years later still working on that project. So yeah, it's been fun. It doesn't mean that all of the projects have to be that complex. If you want to create some sort of shooter or something like that, you can use some of Unreal Engine's features and just reskin some of that, and you have a shooter. Or I don't know, if you have more basic movement, if you want to move, like, let's say, I don't know, if you want to have like an obby, where you're gonna want to go over an obstacle course and all of that is a little bit easier than creating functions and doing, I don't know, something like super deep. I went too deep into crafting. I went too deep into all of the different guns and animations that you can have in the game, and probably I shouldn't have done that for an MVP. I wasn't thinking MVP probably at the beginning, so it's been a learning process. I had to go from a 100 kilometers map and make it smaller, to a 10 kilometer map and make it smaller, and then go to a 1 kilometer map, and then think about the user experience, the user journey, and the cues, and how you're going to get the character working and moving in the exact same direction that you want it to go. So yeah, it's been a learning process, but it's been like super fun. Learning Unreal has made me look at games differently, because usually you just play games and you don't see all of the work behind, or you don't even think about it, because you don't know what it takes. So maybe that's why, and I've told that different people. When I do a game review, I'm overly positive, because I know creating games is hard. So yeah, maybe that's why I'm overly positive, but it's because I can see from the developer view, okay, they did this and they did that, and this takes X time and this takes X effort. So some games might look simple, but some mechanics they are like complex to do. So I know it requires a ton of work to do a game. But yeah, you have to basically program everything in a game if it's not already created in Unreal Engine. At least for animations, at least for characters and I don't know, materials and static meshes and things you can get in the world. You can get a lot of that from Unreal Engine. So if you want to be probably a technical artist that is just going to get wise at creating worlds, it's not gonna be a super huge learning curve for Unreal Engine, because you just have to learn how to place static meshes, how to change some of the materials. If we go over materials, we can check this one over here. This is the furniture marble that we have over here, and we can change this marble. I think the other project is finishing because my computer is crashing. Yeah, this one is finishing. Okay, so it finished the basic shaders. Now it has to create the world shaders. My computer is dying right now. And this is just the selection menu where you start in the game. Oh, and menus and creating widgets, they are called in Unreal Engine. That's another story. That's also something you need to learn. So we have the furniture marble that we have over here, and this is a material, and we can change that for the Megaskins beige marble tiles that we have over here. So let's just drag and drop this material instance over here, and we can change easily how this table looks like. So this is the importance of learning how to use materials, textures. You're gonna be able to change a lot of this super easy. And let's just change the tiling. Okay, my computer is dying because the other project is running, and I'm streaming, so this one is not loading. But yeah, you have to program everything in Unreal Engine, but it's super fun. And depending on what you want to do, you want to specialize on something. So probably, I don't know. I think one of the easiest things to learn in Unreal Engine is Technical Artist, and learning how to place and import different 3D objects and actors into Unreal Engine, applying the textures, fixing collisions, basically creating that scene, this level, creating this. This is gonna be the easiest thing you can do in Unreal Engine, because you can get good at just placing items and creating scenarios. And if you're a creative person, you're gonna be able to create this super easy. So you just get a ton of assets, you get the chairs, you get these tables, and you start getting all of that into the scene. You can see we have some papers on the floor, and we even this is a blueprint. So the blueprint has the papers somewhere over here. But yeah, probably Technical Artist is fun, and it doesn't take too long to learn how to master materials, how to master importing objects, how to master importing an FBX and making it work in Unreal Engine. And then you can just go wider and wider the more you work on different games and different projects. But yeah, Unreal Engine is super fun, and it's also, I believe, intuitive in some sort of way, because once you understand that most modules in Unreal Engine work in the same way. We have some sort of an outliner, we have a detail section, we have another, like, I don't know, my blueprint section in blueprints, or in the material graph we have some different nodes, and the construction graph is very similar to all of the nodes you use also for materials and other stuff. It becomes easier. Like at the beginning, it was super hard for me trying to figure out everything in Unreal Engine, but it's a process. And as long as you master the basics, as long as you feel comfortable with the outliner, the detail section, learning to click on this one and understanding that when you click on anything on the scene, we have the settings over here in the detail section, and we have what makes up the item over here and the materials, and you know how to master some materials and how to change them. It becomes easier. It becomes easier, but it's a process. I don't feel overwhelmed by Unreal Engine anymore, but it's been I don't know, 2 years and something working on games. So yeah, it's a process. It's a process, but it's super fun. And I believe from most of the engines, this one might be the easiest to understand and to master. And also the level of, I don't know, photorealistic quality you get from Unreal Engine is insane. Insane. As you can see, things look super crazy. Lumen is a breakthrough in technology because you can basically change lights and you can use ray tracing live in milliseconds. It doesn't take, I don't know, baking a level like Unreal Engine 4.2 so that you can create the lights and ray trace everything. This is done in milliseconds, and you can change basically all of the lights in Unreal Engine in this way. Real time is just super crazy. And the computational power you used to need in Unreal Engine 4.2 to do this versus what you need in Unreal Engine 5 with Lumen, it's a huge difference. So yeah, super recommended if you want to create like super realistic games and super realistic experiences, or if you want to work automotive stuff, or if you want to work architectural visualization in Unreal Engine. This is probably the best way to achieve some realistic options. As you can see, everything looks like super real over here. And it also depends on the level of the quality of the textures that you have. But there is a lot of different textures you have for free in Unreal Engine, like 14,000 over here in the Quixel bridge. If we open it, you can get many surfaces and textures and stuff for free. Oh man, I'm logged out. But as you can see, we have 14,348 assets that we can choose from, and we have 3D plans, surfaces, decals, imperfections, and you can just find whatever you're looking for over here, download it for free, and you don't have to pay. Even if you want to publish a game in Steam or Epic Games or whatever, you don't have to pay anything to Unreal Engine unless you make more than $1 million with your game. If you make more than $1 million, you pay 5% to Unreal Engine, so it's basically nothing for using a lot of the assets they give you for free. So also the community in Unreal Engine is huge. The marketplace is huge. If you didn't want to, let's just go to the marketplace. Let's say you don't want to create your own, I don't know, like characters. You can go to the marketplace and just search for characters, and you're gonna be able to find a ton of characters in the marketplace. So you can buy them, and you have so many options in Unreal Engine. So you can see we have an RPG character system, we have a character customization system, a warrior character, and this is just the first page. And as you can see, we have 400 pages of content that you can use, and a lot of the content in Unreal Engine has been double checked by the Epic Games team. It's super high quality stuff. So this is the level of detail that you can get with some of the characters in Unreal Engine from the marketplace. They are made by someone else, and they also have customizations. They are basically rigged. Some of them have animations. If you go down over here, as you can see, they have the full character picture resolution, the 3D preview, and this one has a facial rig. So if you're using mocap software and you are translating that from Unreal Engine to your character is gonna be able to talk and reproduce what you're doing with your mocap software. You also have 30 plus animations for this one. It has lip sync, face expressions, and animations. It has blend clothing, skin, hairstyles, and eye with your own colors and textures by part. Is it rigged? Yes, rigged. It means that this character is it has a skeleton and it has bones, because as you can see, it's rigged to the Epic skeleton. It has some IK rig bones so that you can do a quick process of migrating the animations to something else and add it to your game. Uh, Many of the things in Unreal Engine are super high quality and they are made um, for customization. And they are not super expensive because whenever you're paying for custom content, it becomes super crazy. When I started doing this game, uh, I don't know. I had a developer's blockage, and I thought that we had to create all of the assets for ourselves. So we hired a character designer and a character modeler, and they did the characters for Unreal Engine, and it was super expensive having a collection of almost 70 something characters rigged to Unreal Engine. Like basic rig, it's not like a full rig. It was like probably like 25k, 25 grand to create some of the characters we have for the game. And that wasn't necessary. I learned that after that wasn't necessary. We could just, I don't know, we could have used some of the assets from the marketplace and then modified some of the content that they were using, because some of them are modular and they have interchangeable pieces and stuff like that. If they are from the same guy, they can usually like be mixed, and you have a ton of packages with more than one high quality character. As you can see, we have a ton of characters over here. So yeah, that was a rough lesson because I spent a lot of money on that one. And we also requested some architecture. So they created some of the architecture for our worlds, and that was like another 15 grand. And that's how we started. We made a ton of mistakes. We burned a lot of money doing stuff we didn't have to. And as I continue learning and I continue growing in Unreal Engine, I realized that you can create a high quality AAA game and just modify a lot of the assets that we have on the marketplace, and you're gonna save a ton of money. And yeah, it's not super complicated to modify most of the characters over here. And as you can see, they even have an anime character selector over here. It's super nice. There's a ton of things in Unreal Engine. The community is huge. The community of creators for the content in the marketplace is huge. The community for the forums and help is huge. You can get answers for basically anything. Most of the game development platforms, they have bugs, but I believe the Epic Games team, they have been working like super hard on new features and new stuff on Unreal Engine, and they have, I don't know, they have done magic with Unreal Engine 5. So yeah, that's for today's class. It's been an hour and 30 minutes. I'm 30 minutes over the allotted hour. This is basically a recap of Unreal Engine and what we've seen in the previous classes. I talked about stuff we're gonna be able to find in the next classes, like blueprints and animation blueprints, and we're gonna be able to program some behaviors for our characters so that we can do some specific actions on the game. And I talk about collision boxes, collision complexity in Unreal Engine. This is from an advanced class because we are not supposed to get there yet. And yeah, this is a recap of the previous classes. Stay tuned because we're gonna be able to find a lot more things in Unreal Engine, and you're gonna probably, I don't know, after you find about Unreal and its capabilities and what you can achieve in Unreal Engine, you're not gonna want to use another software. and this comes from experience because as I've been doing, because we're already on class number 20 something in Spanish on Tuesdays. So I've had a lot of developers coming from Godot and coming from Unity and coming from different game engines, and they ask me about Unreal Engine, and they ask me, how do you do this? How do you create that in Unreal Engine? And how do you make this calculation? How do you manage the physics? How do you manage, I don't know, like landscapes and all of that? And in the other platforms, it's a painful process to work basic things. In Unreal Engine is basic, and in other platforms is a pain in the ass. So yeah, this is a really great platform. I believe it's one of the most user-friendly platforms that exist for advanced stuff. Like you, as I was showing you, and I showed that on the second class, I believe, you can enable physics for basically any object with the click of a button. So if we grab our table, we just move it over here. And we're just gonna finish with that one. Let's just move it up over here. And this is a structure made of different objects. And let's just move them a little bit up. And if we select these objects, and as you can see, we have an option over here in the details section that says simulate physics, and we just enable that one. For all of these objects, we can select more than one and enable that one, simulate physics. And then we hit play. Well, some of them didn't work. Let me just double check that one. Burley's example, ramp, no sé qué, persistent level. Okay, so this one is part of a blueprint probably. And it's tied to another sort of behavior, and it has a different parent. Yeah, so this one, that's the reason why it's not working for that one. But as you can see, the table is falling. This one has something else tied that I have to double check. But yeah, it's gonna take a while so that I can check what is happening. But yeah, you can do a lot of these calculations in Unreal Engine real time, and you can also disable physics or disable mass or disable gravity and create some dope stuff in Unreal Engine like super easy. And if you're using another engine, it's gonna be a complicated process. It's gonna be like super complex trying to do the math. And learning math for games is complex, dude. It's super crazy. There is something called triplanar. And trying to understand how three axes in 3D work, but whenever you have a base for most things, they are 2D. Man, that is a huge headache. If we go down over here, as you can see, even though they are 3D objects, if we go down, it's still a plane, and the landscape is a plane. So understanding triplanar, so you can have 3D meshes that like digging or that kind of behavior where you're destroying something and creating a hole in it, there is a crazy math behind that. There is a guy, and he's a doctor in mathematics. He created a plugin that is called what's the name of the plugin? I forgot, but there's a plugin. It's a huge plugin in Unreal Engine. It's been on the works for years, and basically they do the math calculations for triplanar calculations, like adding and subtracting 3D stuff so you can create another shape. It's just amazing. There's an Inside Unreal episode where the guy talks about the mathematics behind that, and man, it's crazy. So yeah, Unreal Engine can do a lot of that for you, and in other engines you have to do the math by yourself. So yeah, good luck doing that. And that's it. That's Unreal Engine. This is a nice project where we were able to see some collisions, some lights, some emissive materials, change some, well, we just changed one material and we adjusted some material instances. And we what else did we do? Yeah, we changed some collision settings over here so that we could go up on the levels that we have over here. And we adjusted the lights. We've seen how the light affects. We've seen how Lumen works in Unreal Engine. And this is what you can expect from Unreal Engine. And this is the kind of quality that you can get in Unreal Engine. So that is all for today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm gonna be doing this game course every Thursday. So thank you for being here. I'm gonna finish using a raid. So there is a guy doing some work right now.
We got the sock.
He is, what is he doing? He's doing something with an Unreal, is that Unreal? No. No, he's doing something with a GTA map, and I'm not sure if he's customizing a GTA map. So we're gonna raid that dude, and let's see what happens. So thank you for being here. I'm gonna, has been hosted. Okay, there we go. Have a good night. We'll see each other on next Thursday.